Hello everyone, welcome to another Mass Effect Monday.
Mass Effect
Monday. And on this Mass Effect Monday, I wanted to talk to you guys about the Volus. And the Volus are an associate race on the Citadel that have their own embassy and are also considered a client race of the Turians. They hail from the planet Irun, which possesses a high-pressure greenhouse atmosphere able to support an ammonia-based biochemistry. As a result, the Volus must wear pressure suits and breathers when dealing with other species. Because they're not physically adept compared to most species, Volus mostly make their influence felt through trade and commerce, and they have a long history on the Citadel. However, they have never yet been invited to join the Council, which is a real sore point for many Volus individuals. The Volus homeworld features an ammonia-based ecology and a gravitational field 1.5 times that of Earth, as well as a high-pressure atmosphere. This is reflected in the physiology of the Volus themselves. They're unable to survive unprotected in an atmosphere more suitable to humans and other carbon-based life forms, and as such require protective suits capable of providing the proper atmosphere as well as being pressurized to support the Volus. Traditional nitrogen/oxygen air mixtures are poisonous to them, and in the low pressure atmospheres tolerable to most species, their flesh will actually split open. As the Volus are never seen outside of their protective suits, little else is known about their appearance and physiology. It has been noted, however, that Volus have cloacae, a trait that they share with the Solarians. Their saliva looks coppery blue under standard environments, and they're capable of spitting said fluid. Some Volus individuals have also shown themselves capable of using biotics. Despite individuals distinctly sounding like males or females to human listeners, Volus genders are apparently a mystery as well. The Volus themselves consider the question both intrusive and hilariously irrelevant, to the point that supposedly the STG, Solarian Special Task Group, has a running tally of all the blatant misinformation the Volus have said on the subject. With little else to go on, people simply assign an arbitrary gender value on a Volus based on what they sound like. All Volus contract the disease Yogtan during childhood. Considered a rite of passage, its symptoms are easy to alleviate and it only kills the weakest children. The Volus were the third race to post an embassy to the Citadel after the Asari and Solarians roughly 2,384 galactic standard years ago, according to the Citadel records accessed through Avena outside the embassies. The Volus mercantile prowess made them instrumental in developing a stable galactic economy. They authored the Unified Banking Act, which established the credit as the standard currency of interstellar trade, and the Volus continue to monitor and balance the galactic economy even today. After first contact with the Turians during the Krogan rebellions in the first millennium CE, the Volus petitioned for client status within the Turian hierarchy. Despite their important contributions to the Citadel and galactic society, they have never been offered a seat on the Council, and this is a source of anger for some Volus, particularly the Volus ambassador Din Korlak. Council races need to have provided some extraordinary service to the Citadel, such as the Turians' military support during the Krogan rebellions. Council races also need to provide fleets, resources, and economic aid in case of disaster, none of which the Volus can currently supply. Recently, the Volus have been negotiating with the Systems Alliance through the Turian hierarchy over colonization rights to Patavig. These negotiations have been running smoothly so far. Because of the Volus' outlier biology in relation to most other Citadel races, setting up compatible and appropriately sealed environments in other races' residential areas is illegal on most planets and prohibitively expensive where permitted. The chances of an explosive blowout, environmental contamination, and other related problems have deemed the notion too risky. During the Reaper invasion in 2186, the Volus quickly came under attack as the Reapers overwhelmed the Turian defense fleets. Reaper husks were deployed on Irun, endangering many Volus cities which had been built on opportune trade routes rather than militarily defensible positions. Volus refugees fled Irun for the relative safety of Turian colonies. After the miracle at Palaven, a joint Turian and Krogan force landed on Irun to attempt to liberate the planet. Depending on Commander Shepard's actions, the Volus can contribute the following assets to the Allied war effect: a bombing fleet, the dreadnought Hunu, fabrication units, and an engineering team. Starting over in Andromeda. About 3,000 Volus signed up with the Andromeda Initiative to colonize the distant Andromeda galaxy. However, about 30 years before projected arrival, their starship Kila Sia was hit with an epidemic that can cross species barriers, as well as system failures that forced premature revival of some colonists from cryostasis. I think that is the shared one with the Quarians. Even while the Volus never took off their suits in cryosleep, the Fortinbras plague managed to infect some of them, since the suits were designed to keep Volus in and not necessarily keep pathogens out. The results on the species were particularly gruesome, as they tended to explode within their suits in their final agonizing moments, and the disease used Yoctan as the base infection vector, but childhood immunity has no effect on the species. A cure was eventually discovered and delivered to all passengers of the Ark, who promptly went back to hibernation after airlocking the dead. Bit of Volus culture, which is dominated by trade, whether it be of land, resources, or even other tribe members. The Volus have a reputation as traders and merchants, and many, such as Bala Von, work as some of the best financial advisors in Citadel space. Due to the Volus not being physically adept, they tend to not be violent and can even seem overly pacifistic and cowardly to other more militant species. The Volus homeworld Irun is remarkable for having done away with warfare as an institution of the state, as the Volus lack the romantic view of war found in the galaxy's more aggressive species. Physical skirmishes between groups rarely last long and are almost always ended by social castigation, bargaining agreements, or harsh economic sanctions. They hold in high regard an artifact called the Book of Plenix, which calls for charity and forgiveness of debts in case the Volus do become involved in war. The artifact's last known location is on their homeworld Irun during the onset of the Reaper War in 2186. And Volus have two names, but no family names. According to Volus sensibilities, one cannot own a person, so using a family name would essentially be laying claim to their offspring. Possibly because of their tribal origins, Volus tend to refer to members of other races by their source world rather than species name, i.e. Earth clan instead of human. A notable exception to this is that they refer to Quarians as migrant clan or clanless due to their lack of a homeworld. They also tend to refer to themselves as Vol clan. Known Volus nonverbal cues include laying one's palms flat on a table, an action roughly analogous to humans steepling their fingers. The Volus economy is out of proportion to their modest resource base. They are aggressive traders and industrialists with a keen grasp of exchange and finance. Many of the galaxy's largest banks, holding corporations, and manufacturing cartels such as the Elkos Combine are owned or managed by Volus. They also regulate the Citadel's complex galactic economy. And the Volus appear to have a polytheistic religion. Some of their gods have planets named after them: Chirk-Sab, a deity of luck, and Zeta-Ban, a god of punishment. Their ancient mythology and folklore heavily features the planet Jaxer, since it is bright enough to be seen from Irun's night side without a telescope. And the Volus have at least one dialect of their language called Hyperion Volus. The following words or phrases are usually taken from Volus named planets: Bovis Tor, the Shining Sea; Doz Atab, Sky Warden; Vem Oscar, Weeping Witness; and Welm Urun, the Golden One. The Volus government is known as the Vol Protectorate. Rather than being a fully sovereign government in its own right, the Protectorate is a client state of the Turian hierarchy. In return for falling under the protective umbrella of the Turian military, the Volus pay a tax to the hierarchy, as well as deferring to the Turians in all foreign policy matters, and providing auxiliary troops to the Turian armed forces. They still maintain an embassy on the Citadel, making them an associate species of the Council also, though they currently share their embassy with the Elcor. In the entire history of Volus civilization, the Vol Protectorate has only issued 3 writs of exile against its citizens, and 2 of those are for the political agitator Gafno Yap. Volus are not physically cut out for combat, be it a full-scale war or even a barroom scuffle, and as such, they are highly dependent on the Turians for defense, although the Volus themselves do provide some auxiliary troops to the hierarchy. These forces rely on specially sealed armor in combat and mitigate their disadvantages through the use of technological advanced power armor, as well as avant-garde equipment. The Volus will support the Turians in any war they might pursue, and the Turians will do the same for the Volus. Possibly for this reason, Volus weaponry tends to be utilitarian rather than high grade. Some Volus manufacturers specialize in cheaper, lower grade copies of expensive Turian equipment. Volus do employ some biotics in combat, but these individuals have been known to show impressive biotic powers despite the Volus's diminutive size. Volus prefer air power in conflicts, counting on Turians for ground support. They maintain several flotillas of heavy bomber frigates capable of warfare in any atmosphere, and they've only produced one dreadnought, the Quunu, named after the diplomat who negotiated their client race status with the Turians. The Quunu is the only Volus ship of its class, but it is remarkably well armed. Its broadside cannons and main gun are all Thanix magnetic hydrodynamic weapons. Turian General Turing the Quunu, after its maiden system voyage, enthusiastically declared that the ship could char a planet 3 times over. While its construction was funded entirely by the Elkos Combine Corporation, the dreadnought was jointly gifted to the Vol Protectorate and Turian hierarchy upon completion. And some notable Volus, we've got Bala Von, Din Korlak, Doran, Epo Wen, Gafno Yap, Han Olar, Irit Non, Jalid, and the legendary Pitney 4. And the Volus planets, Irun, which is the homeworld, Alaya, a moon of Dranen undergoing terraforming for a future Volus colony, Boro, Delion, Maskawa, Patavig, which was granted to the Volus after 2183 if the Citadel Council perished in the Battle of the Citadel, Talis, Fia, and Zeta Ban. So that's it, that's all we've got on Volus for this week, so let me know what you think about them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Mass Effect Mondays.
This Clanless is a thief, and I want her arrested.
What? I was just walking by.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to take a statement here.
There's nothing to talk about. She stole my credit chit. Arrest her.
I did not! Just because I'm a Quarian.
I need you to stop and take a deep breath.
You're mocking me, Earth Clan. Just because the Vol Clan need...
What happened?
We were playing cards. Okay. Let's start with you.
Well, it's like this.